Hello guys, I am going to start ITSM. In this video, I will teach you from the basics of ITSM. So you can see the software, and if you want link of this software, I can share with you. So first click on File, then Project, and then click on Open. Select Univariate. And now you can see a lot of data. Now we are selecting year pass ITSM. Click on Open, and you can see this picture. It's a graph. You can notice the trend. This is increasing trend. There are a lot of trends in graphs, and I'm going to cover theory about it. So moving toward theory. Now you can see this theory. So I'm going to start discussing time series because the main course is time series. What is time series? A time series is a collection of observation of well-defined data items obtained through rough repeated measurement over time. For example, measuring the value of retail sales each month of the year could comprise a time series. This is because sales revenue is well-defined and consistently measured at equally spaced interval. Data collected irregularly or only once are not time series. It means you should understand that the data where we are collecting on equal interval of time, you should focus on it. Like we are collecting data monthly of a store, online store of sales, and that is time series because the data depend on time. But when you talk about collecting a raw data, that is not a time series. An observed time series can be decomposed into three components. So I'm saying an observed time series can be decomposed into three components: the trend, the long-term direction, the seasonal symmetric, and the irregular. So while talking about long-term direction, it means that you are taking a long data of 10 years, not monthly. And seasonal, like you are dividing a year in 4 parts and comparing for a seasonal data. And irregular and symmetric short-term. So now component of time series: secular trend, seasonal movements, cyclic movements, and irregular fluctuations. So I'm discussing secular trend. The secular trend is the main component of time series, which results from long-term effect of socio-economic and political factors. This trend may show the growth or decline in time series over a long period. This type of tendency, which continues. So I'm saying secular trend is just like a main component of a time series, which result long-term effect of socio-economic political factor. I mean long-term mean a GDP of 5 years growth. This trend may show the growth and decline over a time series for a long period, like a country economic growth, and this type of tendency which continues to persist for a very long period. Price and import data, for example, reflect obviously over increased tendency over time. I mean, export and import of country will definitely increase for a period of time because as demand increases, country import more goods and company. So this is the secular trend. So I discussed the secular trend. It is a long-term trend, and it represents a very long-term graph like country import and export, GDP growth, etc. So I'm going to move seasonal trends. What are the seasonal trends? Seasonal trends are short-term movements. One is secular, which is long-term, and now I'm discussing seasonal trend. These are short-term movement occurring in data. Due to seasonal factor, the short term is generally considered as a period in which changes occur in a time series, which variation in weather of festival. For example, it is commonly observed that consumption of ice cream during summer. It's mean that in a country when a consumption of ice cream is increased due to the weather conditions. So it is a seasonal trend, and people will observe the sales increase of the item that are depend on the season. There are a lot of business that are doing well in summer, but do not perform or even do not generate any sale in winter just because of seasonal trend. And we need to understand in terms of business point of view. So sale would be higher in some months of a year, while relatively lower during winter for ice creams. Now I am discussing third thing, which is cyclic movement. These are long-term oscillations occurring in a time series. These oscillations are mostly observed in economic data, and period of such oscillation are generally extended from time to 12 years or more. It's mean like we are discussing about the stock market and where are the season. Each year we see a decline of 25%, which we call bear market, and similarly we got 10x our money in 10 years, which is called the cyclic movement, but it is at the end of increasing because stock price depend on the company shares. So these cyclic movement studied provided as long series of measurement free from irregular fluctuations. So this is just like a graph which have cycle ups and downs, like you can see different stocks. So I am going to discuss about irregular fluctuations, which is the last part of our component of time series. Initially, I started from 4 component of time series. First is secular, seasonal, cyclic, and now I'm discussing irregular fluctuations. These are sudden changes occurring in the time series, which are unlikely to be repeated. They are component of a time series, which can be explained by trend or seasonal cyclic movements. These variations are sometimes called residual or random component. These variations through accidental in nature and can cause eventual changes in the trend as seasonal. So it means that irregular fluctuation like that, when a big man tweet about something, so everyone create hype of the thing. I mean, if Elon Musk tweeted about a stock of something and it creates hype, and that will cause irregular fluctuation in the stock. So this is all the 4 component of time series. Now I'm going to explain with one practical way of data. We will use air passenger data. So I brought it air passenger data. I will show you again. First click on project, file, project, and open, and then select univariate, and then air passenger. Click on open, you draw this data. So this is the very simple, and you should comment about the trend. This is the increasing and cyclic pattern. Comment on graph. There are no component in time series in the above graph. The trend is upward direction, and it is increasing time. From the graph, we can see it is increasing, and no component of time series, because we have already discussed the 4 component. Now, similar way, we can plot a data of sunspot ITSM and other data. So this is very simple objective, and now I'm going to show something different about. So you can click on info to find sample mean, sample variance, and ARMA model. That is what you need when you perform this on exam. So I'm going to do another thing. These are the steps in written word. You can see open ITM software, click on file and click project, select univariate file, open. So I'm going to finish this video with lab 1, and now that's for now, and I will create another video for lab 2. So at the end of video, I will thank for watching. Thank for watching, everyone. Bye for now.